and welcome back to A Chapter a Day.
Keeps the devil away.
I'm Pastor Pleck. That's Pastor Holland. We're talking Acts chapter 25, and we are going to outline it. We are going to observe it. Then we are going to interpret it, and then finally apply it to help you take Jesus along with you in your car, on wherever you're at, in your home, maybe at school, at work. We want you.
On a train, on your bike, on an electric scooter.
We want you to take Jesus with you today. All right, so let's start the outline. So Acts 25, verses 1 through 12 is Paul's trial before Festus and appeal to Caesar. So Festus arrives, there's the pomp and circumstance, and then he goes to Jerusalem 3 days after, and the chief priests and Jewish leaders inform against Paul, requesting to be brought to Jerusalem. And then Festus refuses, saying Paul remains in Caesarea and that the accusers should come there to charge him. So they do. After 8 to 10 days, boom, everyone's there. And then Festus wants to do the Jews a favor, asks if Paul is willing to go to Jerusalem. He's like, no, I want to stand before Caesar. And to Caesar you have appealed, Caesar you shall go. All right. Then in verse 13 through 22, you've got Festus consults with King Agrippa. So King Agrippa and Bernice arrive in Caesarea to greet Festus. Then they tell him the case, and he's like, I want to hear him. So they all come in, and they want to hear him. Verses 23 through 27, you got Paul brought before Agrippa with the pomp and circumstance. So Festus addresses the assembly, and the whole Jewish community petitioned that he should not live. And then Festus brought Paul before them, especially Agrippa, so that after examination, he may have something to write, as it seems unreasonable to send a prisoner without indicating charges. So imagine this, being held a prisoner without any charges.
Yeah.
In our American world, that seems unheard of.
Right. No, yeah, no one can pin anything on him. And I love this. Paul says, neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I committed any offense. Like here's the blessing of walking in integrity. Had Paul actually committed an offense, boom, would have been over. If they had anything they could actually pin on him, right?
Right.
And so all people are sinful. We all, we've rebelled against God. We've sinned against God. Nobody's perfect, but it is possible to walk in integrity and be blameless in a sense that you are, walking in obedience to God and walking, in subjection to your rulers. Like Paul walked in integrity.
Yeah, I think we can say we all have personal sin, but we don't all have public sin. Public sin meaning like I sinned against the government. I sinned against the temple.
Yeah. I cheated on my wife.
Right.
I, abused my, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. Like Paul was blameless in the sense, right? That he, though not perfect, walked in integrity.
Right.
It reminds me, Proverbs 2:7 says the Lord stores up sound wisdom for the upright, and he is a shield to those who walk in integrity. And I love that. I'm like, you see that come to life with Paul.
You know what's interesting to me? It's like, I love King Agrippa. He's curious.
Yeah. He's like, I got to talk to this guy.
Like, let me hear this guy out. And it's interesting how, because he is an expert in Jewish customs, right? Because he is Herod, right? Because he's like Herod Agrippa II.
Yeah, right.
So he is an expert in Jewish customs, and he wants to hear it personally. And then he brings his wife. Why? Like, why mention?
What else is she going to do? He's going to meet Paul.
Sure.
She's got to be interested in Paul.
It's interesting how Drusilla's mentioned.
Yeah.
And then how Bernice is mentioned.
Yeah.
It's not like they're a ruler of anything. It's just the wife shows up and they get mentioned by name. I wonder if there was, like, does she become a believer later? Or what is the deal?
Yeah, it is interesting. And I also really, I love Paul when he says, where is it? Verse 11, if then I am a wrongdoer and have committed anything for which I deserve to die, I do not seek to escape death. And he's standing before rulers here. He's talking to Festus and, and then Agrippa. And he's like, hey, if you can prove I did anything wrong, go ahead and kill me. I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm not trying to get out of it, but you can't pin anything on me. And it's just like, he's in such an awesome position. And you have people who are interested. I feel like Bernice wants to come along because she's like, who is this guy? I got to see this guy that everyone's talking about, and everybody wants to kill this man. It would be, too hard to pass up.
How about the Jewish leaders have a unyielding persistent hatred. And I always
Yeah.
wondered, like back with Jesus, like how he went down to live in Egypt until those who wanted him dead were gone. Like
Moses, you mean?
no, Jesus. So like, remember when Herod, kills all the babies in Bethlehem? He stays down there.
Oh, baby Jesus.
Yeah, baby Jesus.
Okay.
And then, but like he waits until those who want him dead are dead. Like I feel like there is a long memory for grudges.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's getting into nature of man, but I just thought that was sort of wild how like there's this persistent hatred, deceit, like they're willing to do whatever it takes. And maybe they haven't eaten, and so they're still hungry. But it just seems wild to me how they're just like that hardcore about wanting Paul dead.
Yeah, man. What else? What's next?
You know what's interesting? I know I'm going to go extra biblical on this kind of stuff, but do you know that Tacitus, like the Roman historian,
yeah.
he talked about there was a affair that Bernice had with Titus.
Yeah.
And so like she kind of is a scandalous person that as, this is being written, I think that might have been why the notable of writing, Bernice was there.
Same with Drusilla in the previous chapter.
Right.
Their marriage was I think Felix like arranged for the divorce of her with her first husband so that he could have her as his wife. So there is some scandal there as well.
Yeah. I think Josephus describes Felix falling in love with Drusilla's beauty and then using a Cypriot Jewish magician named Simon to persuade her to leave Azazus. So partly to escape, it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like these two ladies are mentioned primarily because they get to hear the gospel, even though there was probably, a lot of shame involved. So that might be why they get mentioned, is that these are scandalous people who get to hear the gospel, and the gospel is for everyone. Because it's not like Paul doesn't share, or that I think it's specific because God allows 2 years of her getting to hear the gospel with Drusilla, and then here even Bernice gets to hear.
Wait a second. Is Bernice his wife? It doesn't say.
Oh, wait, hold on. I assumed it was the wife. Next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with great pomp.
Okay, I'm looking in my study notes here, and it says Bernice was Agrippa's sister and constant companion.
Oh,
according to Josephus and Jewish Antiquities.
Oh.
So, not his wife.
Okay, not his wife, but she was a scandalous woman.
Right.
Kind of was always helping probably to get Agrippa more power, and she would use her sexual...
It's just neat how much Luke incorporates, there's so much... This isn't just like, kind of abstract theology, right? This is a historical reportage. And you get names, you get historical events, you get dates. It really anchors the story of Jesus into, a particular historical moment.
You could probably go down a rabbit hole of Bernice and Drusilla, and never ending. But it is significant that the Bible notes that those people were present using real people, real time, real dates.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Festus? Just has the desire to please. Why is everyone wanting to please the Jews? Like what? The Jews aren't exactly a powerful people, but they are ones that don't mind dying for a cause, and maybe just to kind of appease them to not throw riots.
Yeah, they're constantly presented as, wanting to riot and kill. And it's like, as a governor, as a ruler, you don't want to mess with that.
Right. Okay, wow. Let's get to some truths about the nature of man. How about humans can harbor just unrelenting anger and grudges?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just the length of years of the Jewish people waiting to kill Paul at some point you have to pass down that hatred to somebody. Like, hey, there's this guy, Paul. Like, he doesn't affect your everyday life. He's in a prison somewhere.
Yeah. Remember, this is 2 years he was in prison. And so, they were plotting to kill him beforehand. 40 men made up, bound by an oath to neither, eat nor drink. And they couldn't pull it off. So those guys are probably
failure. I'm a failure. Until I kill Paul, I'm awful.
And then 2 years later, though, and they're still trying to kill him. This is just years and years of trying to kill this man now.
Yeah. How about people often prioritize expediency over righteousness? Festus willing to bend procedure to please the Jews illustrates just like this tendency toward political compromise, self-preservation, avoiding conflicts at the cost of justice. How about mankind struggles with the perplexity of spiritual matters? I love how Festus he's at a loss over the religious disputes about Jesus' resurrection.
Yeah.
He's just like,
I don't know what's going on with these guys. They're talking about this guy who was, at verse 19, dispute about their own religion. Some guy named Jesus who was dead. Paul thinks he's alive. I don't know what's going on here. And it says he's at a loss of how to investigate. He's just like, what does any of this have to do with me?
Right. Why am I here? And I love the fact that he's able to, that's why he's like, hey, someone else needs to hear this. I think the gospel is so wild that you're putting your hope in some guy that was murdered. Okay, how about this? Executed by the state. And your hope is in him that he didn't actually stay dead. He rose from the dead.
Yeah.
And our whole hope is based on the resurrection of Christ. If he's not resurrected, we've got nothing. But like, that's it. Like, and then he hears it and he goes, it doesn't convince him of anything.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the gospel is always, personal.
Yeah.
But throughout Acts, and especially as you get toward the end here, it never stays personal. It goes, personal and private, my personal faith in Jesus, but it very quickly goes public, right?
Always.
They're preaching. But then it goes not even just from public, but from public to political.
Right.
There's no way to stop that trajectory because anything that is going public is affecting the life of the city, the life of the community.
Right.
And that's going to affect who's in charge and how laws are being made and how people are governed. And so the trajectory of the gospel in Acts, it goes from private and personal quickly to public and then to political and to Caesar, to the top dude, and all the whole entire world,
I love
Caesar. And Paul's like, I want to go tell him about Jesus and change the world forever.
All right, let's get to truths about the character of God. I know this is I think we've hammered this, but God is sovereign over human authorities and plots. Like God thwarts the ambush by Festus' refusal to transfer Paul and then uses Roman law, the appeal to Caesar, to protect him and direct him toward Rome, fulfilling God's promise.
It's good to hammer that though, because it's something that's just people just deny today so much. And there's so much anxiety and fear and I got to take things into my own hands and what are we going to do? And it's like, you got to hammer that. God is in control. He's sovereign.
God is in control. How about, and the thing that includes sovereignty over trial and delay and waiting.
And I go back to my proverb too of God is a shield to those who walk in integrity.
That's good. Okay. And how about God exposes the futility of opposition to his truth.
Oh, that's good.
Despite there's these intense accusations, you've got all these people wanting to kill Paul, kill the message, and it just won't die.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Application.
Yeah, let's do it.
Spec.
So sin to avoid or confess, promise to claim, example to follow, command to obey, or knowledge to believe. What you got?
Example to follow of Paul. I've against any of these things, I have not committed any offense.
Nice.
Right. Verse 8.
Have true
I'm hammering that one on this episode. Is just walk in integrity. Walk in integrity. When you sin, we're all going to sin, but bring it to the light, confess it, and do everything you can to be a person who walks in integrity.
I think, is it Proverbs 28:1? The wicked flees when no one is chasing them.
The righteous are bold as a lion.
And I think that's powerful. Paul gets to be bold as a lion because he's walked in righteousness.
Yeah, and he's got nothing to hide.
He's got nothing to hide. And when you can
There's
walk,
freedom there.
When you can, especially when you confess all your sin, and I was whatever, and you just don't care. There's great freedom there, and there's great boldness there, and it's just something to really lean into. Okay, how about this on the flip side? Sin to avoid persistent bitterness or hatred that leads to deceit or wanting to murder somebody.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Be public about your faith. I think the example to follow, Paul is just I need everybody to know, and he's patient, and he's not, when he actually talks with people, he's very reasonable, he honors other people, but he's very public about his faith.
And not afraid to say, you are in sin. You have no self-control. He's able to talk to people that are written about in history books. They get an audience with Paul. And that might be why Bernice is in there, Drusilla's in there, because these people were interacting with emperors.
Yeah.
Because I think Bernice has an affair with the emperor, the future emperor.
Oh, really?
Like I think Titus is.
Oh, right.
She has
that's what you mentioned earlier.
literally has some sort of fling with him.
Yeah.
In like 79 AD. And so like it's like mentioning Michael Jordan or just a famous person. I don't know, I just threw up just famous people in our contemporary time. If you had an interaction with them, that would be significant that Donald Trump was in your audience, or Barack Obama was in your audience, or JD Vance was in your audience. Like when you say that, when a famous person, political or celebrity status, which was probably what Bernice was, like that's significant that she heard the gospel. And whenever you throw a celebrity out there who is known by the historians of the day, then it really, you can't get away from, this wasn't legend made up years later. It was something that was true and reportage of that nature.
Yeah. And I would say, just lastly, example to follow with Paul of, verse 19, whom Paul asserted to be alive. Like Paul always brought it to the resurrection.
Yeah.
Like everywhere he went, he's always like, so here's what happened, but also Jesus rose from the dead. And that's really why I'm here.
Jesus is alive.
Bring it back to the resurrection of Christ.
Yeah. I just like knowledge to believe is that God uses governors, kings, and those who are very poor to accomplish his will. And I love how whether you're in prison or in the palace, God's still present.
Look at that.
Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on A Chapter a Day.